Welcome to it, sports fans, the MKT Show. I'm MKT, Garrett Cliff Central Sport, the MKT Show. International friendlies, what a bummer, huh? Nathan Ake, imagine getting your dream move, £40 million, and the guy's just out. I mean, are you kidding me? Friendlies are a mess. But anyway, I don't want to talk about friendlies. International football, you know my opinion, it stinks. It stinks. It has no place in modern day sport at all. International sport stinks in general. But all right, let's move on from that. Why are they playing friendlies in a pandemic? Unbelievable. Plus, by the way, might as well start the show off on this note. It's the Olympics and Euros at the end of the year. So these guys are going to have another short season next season. Short off season. What are we doing? What is FIFA doing? What is UEFA doing? It is a mess. Anyway, that is what it is. What are we going to get into today? I'll tell you why I don't think Man City or Chelsea can win the league, or Man United, and Chelsea can win the league. And it's the same thing. I think they've got the same problem. It's the only thing probably stopping both clubs from moving on and going to the next level, in my opinion. And then I'll tell you why Chelsea, well, listen, they got a situation with Christian Pulisic. I've got a very simple solution. I've been injured before. I know what I would certainly do if I were the Chelsea ownership and management. He's the best player. Pulisic is Chelsea's best player by some distance as well. I know everybody likes Werner and Ziyech. It's a little early. Pulisic is the whole deal. He's the real Makoya, as we say in South Africa. MKT Show, let's get into it. So I'm going to talk just from a guy's perspective. Whenever I say things, it's a different time. So sometimes you have to explain to people that you are speaking from just a man's perspective. I'll never speak for women. I don't know what women think. I don't live in a woman's mind. So I'm just going to talk for guys. All right. Men are awful at admitting they're wrong. And men are awful at admitting they're wrong, especially if they've paid for something. Car, house. And I've just experienced it too much in my life where my mom's great, my sister's great. Listen, might be anecdotal just in my life. Women are great at moving on. Like, especially from stuff they buy. It's like, oh, terrible thing. I'm going to take it back to the shops. Like, I know a lot of guys, it's like, oh, these pants, these shorts don't really fit nicely, but I'm not going back to the shops. It's a bit embarrassing. We're egotistical animals. Hey, I know a lady, a good friend of mine, she has changed the same shorts 3 times. And I'm talking, this is live. I spoke to her last weekend. She's been back to the shop 3 times, to the same shop, hasn't paid an extra cent, changed these shorts. I tried them, had them, saw them in my cupboard, don't like them, change them. Guys, no chance. No chance. And I think it's the reason why Man United and Chelsea are going to be unable to win the league. Let's start with Man United. Look, they spent £58 million. It was 36, I think, up front, but £58 million on Anthony Martial, 2015. The United spent what was then a teenage record on Anthony Martial, right? Listen, it's time to admit you were wrong. But men can't do this. I don't know what it is. Men are terrible at admitting they're wrong. We're ego animals, right? All about being alpha, all about, listen, maybe it's shame. I don't know what it is. Man United were wrong. You were wrong in investing in Anthony Martial because I'll tell you what, the ability is not good enough for me to have to put up with the nonsense we've had to put up with Martial. How long does it take you to see that he's not the guy? And you know what's worse for Martial is I saw the guy who was the most expensive teenager just before you. Wayne Rooney, straight away, remember, was it Fenerbahce? He got that Champions League hat-trick, 19. So with Rooney felt like Man United straight away. Ability, maybe not. I've never been big on Rooney ability-wise. But then you bring Wayne Rooney's winner's mentality, that fire, that British bulldog, and then you've got yourself a different beast. Wayne Rooney felt like Man United out of the box. Unpack it, and he was ready to go, boy. He was ready to go. Martial, listen, if you're in a relationship and you're in the 3rd year of a relationship and you're still in counseling, it's too hard. It's fine if you're younger and you're fighting, you're still growing. If you're 35 and you're still fighting with your wife or husband in year 3, year 5, it shouldn't be that hard. There's lots of people out there to be in a relationship with. It's too hard with Martial. It's always something with that guy. And I'm afraid you can't win the Premier League if you don't have a number 9. You cannot. I'm sorry. You cannot go to the next level without a number 9. Anthony Martial, they're still babysitting. Like, how long is he going to be young for? He's 24 years old now. I don't want to be babysitting people at 24. Because Fernando Torres at 21 was captaining Atletico Madrid. This is just the reality of things. Karim Benzema at 20. No matter what you think of Benzema, the best player at Lyon, nobody's babysitting him there. There's no babysitting. You're the guy, and it's all on your shoulders. Neymar, 21, captain of Brazil. Like, you need to go now, Chief. You need to go. There's no more young. And Martial still feels like you're dealing with growing pains. It's 5 years later. It's 5 years later. Move on. Like, Man United need to move on. And they need to move on now. Because the Martial thing, it's done. It didn't work. It's okay. Because he doesn't bring anything to Man United, by the way. Doesn't bring goals. And he brings a headache mentality. So he's not a leader, and he doesn't bring goals. Wayne Rooney immediately brought everything you needed Manchester United. Number one, do you fit into a Manchester United jersey? Because that's a big thing. Man United's not a jokey joke club. Like, for us now, we're having fun. It's a bit of banter. But once that shirt is on you, I mean, Antonio Valencia went from 25 to 7 back to 25. You know why? Because that 7 was just too heavy on his back. That's Man United. That's the standard. Unfortunately for Martial is he's not at Southampton. I don't have 10 years to wait. Because just before you, I saw Carlos Tevez, Wayne Rooney. Just before him, I saw Andy Cole, Dwight York. So I've seen Ruud van Nistelrooy at Man United. There is little room for us to transition. Once you're in the first team at Man United, you need to be great straight away. Wayne Rooney, great straight away. Playing straight away. Never injured, by the way, Wayne Rooney, for the first 8 seasons. And then he had his issues. But 8 seasons, he gave me 8 top-class seasons. See, with Wayne Rooney, I could put up with the stuff off the field because on the field, I don't only get a player, I get the leaders, the intangibles. Wayne Rooney is leading from the front, and he's sort of Roy Keane light from up front. And he is not taking a step back for anybody. We are Man United. We will pummel you into the ground. Anthony Martial feels like he should be playing at Sheffield United with his soft attitude. He does not belong at Man United. But men are terrible at this. Oh no, we spent too much money on Martial to go back now. What will people say? How will we look? Women, they don't care. They don't care if the shop owner is irritated them for changing shorts 3 times. They do not care. Men, this is what happens. Martial should have been gone last season. You've seen enough now. The attitude sucks. And the football output, quite frankly, is mediocre. Is mediocre. And how do I know that? Is that when we're in the trenches, that's when you should see Martial come through. Because you don't pay £58 million for a teenager to go and babysit them. Don't give me the surroundings. When I pay £58 million, you should have the fortitude that when we need to lean on you, then it's all over for everyone else. Because it's not like Man United aren't surrounding him with talent either. You know, Rashford can play. Matic can play. Matt has been able to play for a long, long time. You've had Mourinho. You've had LVG. Now it's all made for you. You've got Ole Gunnar Solskjaer who thinks you're the best. I still don't get the results. You're not young anymore. It's over. 24 now? Oof. It's 5 years later. Folks, 5 years into a relationship and we're still in counseling and I'm still getting to know you. It's too hard. Relationships shouldn't be hard. Relationships should not be hard. Martial's making it too hard. If I'm United, I move on. And I'll tell you what the solution is. If they want to go to the next level, it is you do everything to get rid of Paul Pogba because what you need is to open up the bandwidth and the financial muscle. Haaland must come at all costs because he's out the box, ready to go, any system. He's got the flair, skill, and the personality to be a Manchester United player. Martial doesn't have the personality to be a Man United player. I mean, you can see as soon as he misses a chance, something happens. His head goes down. That is unacceptable. At Man United, you've got to be relentless. When you think of Man United, what I remember about them over the last 20 years, relentless. Win or lose, 2-0 down, there is no worse team. Listen, if you're my age, 34 and up, You knew the worst time to play Manchester United is from the 91st minute to the 95th minute, and you're 2-0 up. Martial, where is it? Where is it for £58 million? And by the way, for men, it's okay to say you made a mistake. United, you've taken too long. He should have been gone last season, and I'm still putting up with off the field stuff. I'm up. But Chelsea have a similar problem. Same, but different. Same, but different. Olivier Giroud is better than Tammy Abraham. Like, please. Anybody who's watching. Because here's what Tammy Abraham gives you that Giroud doesn't. Nothing. Giroud can hold the ball up, and he's an aerial threat. Tammy Abraham is just a more trim version of Romelu Lukaku for me. Good pace, right? So good pace. And that's about it. An atrocious first touch. And considering his height, is one of the worst strikers I've ever seen in the air. Now, here's the issue for Chelsea, is that it looks like the system is built in and around the wingers, right? So Reece James and Chilwell are clearly where the threat's going to come from. Ziyech is probably going to give, he's probably going to connect with midfielders with his passing, and the other winger in Pulisic or whoever it may be, Werner from the other side. So Tammy Abraham's got to go. The problem with Chelsea is, once again, men can't say, no, we made a mistake. He's one of their own. So it's very difficult for Chelsea to go, oh, but look at last season. Yeah, but last season there was no pressure. Anyone can play with no pressure. Listen, all of these guys are good footballers, right? When there's no pressure, everyone looks like Maradona. Everyone's Maradona when there's no pressure. Sorry, Tammy Abraham's not it. No first touch, no aerial threat. And the worst part is he can't hold the ball up. Olivier Giroud can hold the ball up, and he is a goal threat. And you saw that because everyone keeps saying, without Tammy Abraham, Chelsea don't get top 4 last season. No. When the pressure came, what happened? They went to Giroud for the last 10 games of the season. That's all she wrote. Holds it up, target man, and there was nobody who made Eden Hazard more successful than Giroud. Tammy Abraham gives you nothing. Gives you a little bit of pace, decent finishing. That's it. But Chelsea, under pressure, low block. Unfortunately, most teams are going to have men behind the ball. Can't do anything. But the problem is the same. Martial and Abraham, both clubs are unable to say, we made a mistake. It's okay. Move on. Like, people aren't good at that. Like, men aren't good at that. Move on quickly. No, I'll try and make it work. You know what? I bought this Mustang. Listen, the seats are a bit hard. The aircon's not great. But, you know, it looks good, so it's fine. I'm unbelievably uncomfortable driving to work, but it looks good. Not women. Not in my experience. Men are terrible at moving on. Chelsea need to move on from Abraham immediately. And Man United should have moved on from Martial last season. What more do you need to see from Tammy Abraham? That he's unable to hold up the ball and he's not an aerial threat. And if you're a Man United fan, like, what more do you need to see that Martial is not the guy for your club? You had Wayne Rooney. You know what the real McCoy looks like. You had Robin van Persie. So you know what a young killer looks like. Right? You know, Martial's not it. I've told you before, I don't care about talent. Does he have talent? Of course. Can't doubt that. But it's not enough at Man United. Eric Cantona had talent, but everything you read about Cantona, hardest working guy at training. Paulo Di Canio, crazy man, but hardest working man in training. Martial, I don't know. And he doesn't take me over the top, by the way. The talent is supposed to take me over the top. His talent is probably top eight talent. Be honest. I'm not taking him over Harry Kane, not over Aguero, not over Jesus, not over Timo Werner. You're starting to look like a best case scenario. Aubameyang. Don't know who you'd want there. Aubameyang, Martial, probably go Aubameyang. He's got a better legacy. Lacazette. I know a lot of people think Lacazette's on the down, but I mean, where am I? I'm 8-9 deep. You're the Man United starting striker, and I'm 8-9 deep, and you don't make my Premier League team. I say to you right now, I'll give you Danny Ings, or I give you Anthony Martial. Both fit. Like, you kind of have to think about that. Isn't that crazy? Like, we can all see it. If I said to you, Danny Ings or Anthony Martial, you really have to sit down and go, right? That's madness. The ones at Manchester United, the ones at Southampton. Because if I said to you, if I came to you now and I said, James Beattie or Andy Cole, I mean, you'd probably slap me across the head, right? But that's the Southampton Man United comparison, right? I think it's pretty clear. If I came to you and I said Kevin Phillips or Wayne Rooney, although Phillips was at Sunderland, but you get the gist. There's no thinking. Wayne Rooney or Kevin Phillips, what? I'd have to obviously be committed, right? You'd have to get me in a straitjacket and have me taken off for 3 months to see if my mind's okay. But if I say to you, Danny Ings, Anthony Martial, and it's Martial 5 years later either. I'm not just saying Martial now. This is 5 years at United to adjust to everything, and they have done everything to make him comfortable. They've changed the manager. They've changed the playing stuff around him. Move on. Like, why are we so bad as men at moving on? And this season, they must move on. It's over now. I've seen enough. Rashford's better, clearly. And you've got Greenwood, who's Martial's level when Martial was a youngster. I might even say Greenwood's at the level now. Get what you can. Listen, you know what he feels like? He reminds me of Moise Keane. That too cool for school attitude. Martial, go to PSG. So if I'm United, at least get your money back. 50, 60 million in this market. Probably he won't command that because he's a little injury prone as well. Take your 45, take your 50 million, take your money from Pogba, whatever that may be. It looks like that'll be between 60 and 80 in the COVID market. Haaland must come to United next year if you're serious. If you're Chelsea, move on. Abraham's got to go. Next season, you pivot and you fight for Haaland as well, or you find another option. Timo Werner is your number 9. You must find a backup because I don't think Giroud will stand for this. He goes, hey, I just want a World Cup. I'm the guy. But that's the 2 reasons. You cannot win the Premier League without strikers. Tammy Abraham and Anthony Martial. I don't care if you've got Luis Figo, Zinedine Zidane, and Pavel Nedved as your supporting cast with Kaká in a diamond. You're not winning the league without that. Think of every great team. You need a great striker. You need a great striker. I'm sorry. No, and you don't need good. You need great. Even Jamie Vardy in his winning season for Leicester was transcendent. Go through all of the eras. I'm not going to go through all the eras. Without a great striker, you don't win. Chelsea and I'm afraid United don't have either. And they must both move on. Chelsea are ready to launch, right? Put Timo Werner up front. Chelsea are ready to launch. Will Frank Lampard do it? I have my doubts. I'm not so big on Lampard and some of the things he's done. And the evidence shows me Lampard he's got an ego, boy. He will not change. He has got an ego. But Man United, what a joke. What a joke. You've got to be sitting there as a Man United fan wondering, what's it going to take? Because the rest of the league can see it. Just put Rashford up front. Like, am I crazy? Just, like, are they worried about hurting Martial's feelings? Just put Rashford up front. He's the best young player you've produced, probably. I mean, it's a tough one. When was the last time United had a good one? Since Ryan Giggs? Rashford's the stuff. Just put him up front. Stop playing him at left wing. We're mucking about now. You got Greenwood to do the hard running. Find somebody else to do the running. Martial's not the guy. And Rashford's a tough guy because he gets kicked, boy. And he keeps coming and coming and coming. That's a United player. When I look at Marcus Rashford, I'm not too interested about what happens off the field. I'm not that guy. I don't believe sportsmen should be role models. So, listen, I'm not swayed either way about things they do off the field. Whatever. That's your problem. If you're society, you raise your own kids. I don't care. I care about what you do on the field. And the one I've seen that I go, oh, that's a footballer. That's what players know. Rashford's a baller. Rashford's a proper baller. You see him and you go, uh-oh, there's something different. You're not looking for trouble there. Martial, get out of here. That's not a United striker. Van Persie, Van Nistelrooy, Cole, right? York, Rooney. You think of United, you think of these names. Tevez. And then you got Anthony Martial. I'd like to know what United fans think, but for me, move on. It's 5 years later. You shouldn't be in counseling with your girlfriend or wife 5 years into a relationship. Nothing should be that hard. If after 5 years you haven't figured it out, sorry. And be okay with moving on. Didn't work. Martial's not for United, and United are not for Martial. That's okay. You made a mistake. Move on. What makes Elon Musk so great? Move on. Pivot. That's not working. We move on. I want to dig tunnels under California. That's not going to work. All right. Don't care. Solar panels. All right. Well, that's not working. You know what? Let me send people to the space station for a tenth of NASA's price. That doesn't work. Let's move on. Build a new cell phone is what he's doing. Hey, doesn't work. You know what I need? Let's see if we can have a flamethrower. Boom. Move on. Flamethrower idea. Oh, not so great for PR. Move on. This is what great people do. Man United right now. I mean, geez, like, are you kidding me? And I worry that Chelsea aren't going to move off Abraham because tough to kick your kids out. Tough to kick your own kids out. You know, parents are terrible. And I had this. I had a spoiled brat. Tough to kick your kids out at 18. Hey, get out there and go to university and learn how to pay bills. And if they're not good enough, you got to cut your kids off. Abraham's not good enough. That's why Chelsea, United, forget it. No Premier League. Hey, before we move on to the second topic, also Chelsea, let's get some questions. Looks like we got lots of questions. Tabo says, hey, missed the show last night. You know how hectic family meetings can get. I do. And listen, this is not a stereotype. Any meetings where South African black people are involved, oh boy, bring a sleeping bag because we do meetings like nobody else, especially family ones. Boy, oh boy. And I'm learning now as I get older. I'm starting to get into more family meetings. Oh, wow. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Black South African families and meetings. Oh my goodness. So Tabo, thoughts and prayers, dude. That does not sound good to have you back. And hopefully we can make you feel better because that is wild. Listen, you're a brave man. A black man in South Africa having a meeting during the week. That's brave because honestly, let me be honest with you. So family meetings as black families, I don't know how other people handle their lives. That can be anything from 15 minutes to 6 hours. There is no clock. So Tabo, thoughts and prayers, brother. Jesse says, lol, that's so true. I won't go back. Yeah, I presume Jesse's talking about how men won't go back to a shop or take things back. Like men don't move on. Oh, no. We're ego things, Jesse. So I'm glad somebody can identify. Jesse says, yeah, I missed it too. I was worried we're going back into lockdown. All right, you had to talk to Silly there. But no, it looks like we are opening up in the Republic of South Africa. So Cyril Ramaphosa. Mark Francis says, Martial, who cares? More data box chat. Unbelievable. Tabo says, how many times have I been saying this about Martial? The standards at United have dropped dramatically. It's on my email as well. Martial is not a clinical number 9. I don't get it. Tabo, I will get back to that email of yours. But I don't get why it's taking so long. Like, how long does it take to see that the guy's not good enough? What are Man United for? They're waiting for the second coming. Like, Martial's not it. He is not a Man United striker. Is it the talent? All right, it's obviously there. There's obviously talent. But after 5 years, what have you seen in 5 years to tell you this is our guy? Wayne Rooney, literally, in the first game, scored a hat-trick against Fenerbahce. And then he was off. Top goal scorer United have ever had, right? Like, you knew. At that level, you know early. And by the way, nobody knows before players. Players see you and they're like, okay, he's it or he's not it. The coaches do the patient stuff and us fans. Martial, get out of here. Get out of here. Tabo says, Mane, Jimenez, De Bruyne, VVD should all be at United. We used to set the standards. Now we are the followers. That's why we will not win the league. We have lost our identity. Tabo, you are too right. You know, the only way to alleviate tension in life is you have to be self-aware. You have to be self-aware. Because what self-awareness does is it sucks all of the tension out of the room. All right? Man United, as Tabo was saying quite brilliantly, they don't know who they are, so they're always on edge. And, you know, when you're following, the problem with following is that if other teams make mistakes, you're also making a mistake. And at a stage, Man United were the standard bearers, the gold standard. And, I mean, what is going on at this football club? Especially with the Martial thing. He's not a number 9, and he's not clinical. And quite frankly, he's, you know, My grandmother used to say this: I see better than I hear. So because we were naughty, right? We go to her in the holidays, and my grandmother, she always used to say, and I've seen it with this other tight end, a Hall of Fame tight end called Shannon Sharp. He says his grandfather used to say it, but I remember it because my grandmother used to say it as well. She'd ask us to do something, and we'd say, no, we've done it. And she goes, no, wait, I can hear what you're saying, kind of thing. But I can see that the rubbish is still in the corner. What's actually happening here? So I'm old, but I see better than I hear. And what you say you've done is still not done. With Martial, how many more times are you going to tell me how talented he is? Because I can see that he's not up to being Man United. I can see his shoulders slouching. I can see his performance. Listen, I don't even want to make it about numbers. I don't want to make it about numbers because that puts people in a tough spot. But he's never been a standout in, now, 4 different squads now. When I pay 58 million for you at the age of 18, I'm sorry, I need a bit more than that. I need a bit more than that. Mark Francis says, we spoke about chemistry the other day, and that is typical with United. They also live in the shadow of Fergie. Times have changed. No chemistry at United, no winning mentality, no character in that team. Talent ain't squat without chemistry and character. And when I pay 58 million pounds, you know, when people pay you a big amount, they just presume that you have character. And we're really bad at this as human beings, is because we kind of look at the observable, what we call the tacit, in terms of the intangibles. You know, that character is what's he going to do when we're in the trenches. And that's tough to see up front. But Martial's had 5 years to show me exactly what Mark Francis did. Because when I pay you 58 million pounds as a youngster, you know what I presume? Is you're also going to be a lubricant in the change room, right? Not a handbrake. It's tough enough. It's tough enough. 58 million, when you come over to that dressing room, be a lubricant, be professional, be punctual, be early, first man in, last man out. It sounds cheesy, but that stuff matters. It's why people like Roy Keane can say now whatever he wants, and you never hear anybody come out and say anything about Roy Keane because he lived his example. When Man United went and broke the British transfer record, right? And went to Nottingham Forest and got Keane. It wasn't for his ability. To play for United, the abilities are given. But you must do those other things. That's why we pay extra. That's why we break the record for you, Martial. To whom much is given, and you know the rest of that saying. Martial adds nothing outside of just being a player. That's unacceptable at 58 million. He's supposed to generate chemistry, right? Not make it harder, because it's hard enough to win. It's hard enough to win at that level. Man United has enough challenges. There's enough going against Man United. And Martial's making it harder, not easier. Couldn't agree more with Mark. And chemistry, by the way, you have to be deliberate about it. See, that's the difference between your Roy Keanes and what we have now, a Vidic and what we have now, Gary Neville, what we have now, right? Virgil van Dijk is deliberate. You can see he's deliberately at people. You have to go at people. You have to be demanding. Nobody at United looks demanding. Martial's not demanding. 58 million, I'm just here to play football. No, sir. Mark Francis, well said. Tabo says, I completely agree with you, Mark, lack of character. And that's just, you know, unfortunately, you can't train character. It's a tough one. It is a tough one. Tough stuff. Mark Francis says, never really rated Abraham. English players of late are way overrated. James, Chilwell, Mount all have potential like those players. Sancho's a bad apple, but loads of skill there. Couldn't agree more. My father-in-law is a United supporter and an ex-pro footballer. He says that youngsters need to be played week in, week out, and I tend to agree with him. I totally agree. So what you need generally, when you look at the successful teams, even Mourinho when he came, people think he brought over old players with him. He didn't. But what there was a spine. I've said it before. What's not negotiable? You cannot win without the following. Keeper, centre-back, defensive mid. What did Mourinho do immediately? And this is what United don't have. You need a great keeper. This is if you want to win. I don't mean just participate, because great goalkeeper, great centre-backs, and a great holding midfielder. So 6 or 8, whatever, somewhere in the spine, just to anchor that team. Go through all the United teams. Go through Liverpool's team now. Go through Blackburn's team with Tim Sherwood doing what he was doing. He was unbelievable at the time. Go through every team that's ever won. Go through Leicester's team. Keeper, centre-backs, the number 6 position. Without that, your number 9 can take you over the top. But then you can surround that with the youngsters. So what did Fergie do? Everybody thinks Fergie brought all of the kids. No, he didn't. It wasn't all of the kids. It was Schmeichel at the back, Pallister, Bruce, right? So you've got that. Keane, Brian Robson. Okay. Now you add Gary Neville. Now you add Nicky Butt. Now you add Ryan Giggs. Now you add Paul Scholes. You add that to a core. The core's non-negotiable. You can't make your core just the kids. Everybody says Fergie's kids. Stop it. They were complementary pieces to an already established core, right? He brought in the kids, but he said Pallister, Brian Robson, and then you surround them. Keane, and then Butt and the rest, and Scholes and those kids, you surround them. Neville, they come in and they fit in around. And then you can let the kids get away with mistakes. It doesn't matter. Because Brian Robson, by the way, one of the greatest footballers of our generation, underrated. He'll mop up all of Paul Scholes' mistakes for the first 2-3 years. Robson mops that up. Keane mops that up. All of Giggs' mistakes, Dennis Irwin, one of the great, the titan that was Dennis Irwin. Ryan Giggs, you go run up front there and try and dribble everyone, and you lose the ball for 2 years. Don't worry about it. Dennis Irwin's got you. I totally agree with your father-in-law in terms of youngsters playing every week, but you cannot just throw them to the Sharks, because that's not good enough. You can't have the youngsters at centre-back and goalkeeper. Look at United now. The keeper's done. De Gea's done, right? Like, he should have been out last year. Fergie says, once you start making mistakes as a keeper, you got to go. De Gea's done. They got no centre-backs. And who's their holding mid? Matic. Matic was at his prime 3 years ago at Chelsea. That's why United can't win. So all these youngsters are having to do things that they really aren't ready for or have no desire. By the way, Wayne Rooney was ready at 18 to lead. He was rare. Wayne Rooney was rare. It's impossible to find another Wayne Rooney. Not only the ability, but the personality. It's really, really, like Carlos Tevez is impossible to find again. That fire and ability in one body, it's almost impossible. I mean, you look at the players now, there isn't one. Neymar, ability, no character. Haaland, okay, well, let's see. Give me another season. I'd like to see him at Bayern Munich, at Man United, at Chelsea, and turn the heat up on him a little bit. It's tough to find ability and character, especially at 18. You kind of need to wait for them to develop. But when they're like Rooney, I mean, Wayne Rooney's unpack me out the box and just put me in. No development period with Wayne Rooney. But that is a wunderkind, and it's almost impossible. It is almost impossible to find. Almost impossible. Plus, here was Rooney's secret. Never got injured. Remember, greatest ability is availability. So Martial, I also don't get the ability of you being available. You can play, but I don't like the injuries. And then your attitude sucks. And then you're also not good enough. No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. So, Mark again says, yeah, my father-in-law, United supporter, ex-pro footballer. Oh, he says, imagine United supporters therapists would need... I imagine United supporters therapists would need therapy after their sessions. Hey, they had it good for so long. They must just relax. You know what my favorite part about Man United fans right now is they're in such denial. It's such denial. Like, oh, it's been the manager's fault 3 times in a row. It's not the players. No. Pogba's being played in the wrong place. He's been played at 10, 8, 6. They've tried to play him in a double pivot, single pivot in the 6th position. They've tried to play him in a double pivot 8. They've tried to have 2 holding mids with Fred and Matic. Nothing worked. No, it's not Pogba. He needs a new manager. 5th time's a charm, they say. 5th time's a charm. Love it. Tabo says, Mbulelo, I was talking about the president. Oh, the family meeting. Oh, sorry, I missed that. I missed that one. Yes, he did call it the family meeting. I only watched a little bit afterwards, Tabo. Sorry, I saw it on Twitter. Jesse says, Master started today. Do you think a South African will take it? I do not. We don't have anything that can compete at that level at the moment. And I like our guys. I like Grace. I like, they're all getting on a bit, but I think Grace is our guy right now. I'm a Tiger Woods guy. But that Bryson DeChambeau, are you kidding? Are you kidding me? And the weather's looking great. Saw Tiger tee off. He was 1 over on the first, I think. Yeesh, not looking good. Tiger Woods guy, but no. Louis wants to go to live in Georgia and farm now. So no, we don't have anything at the top end as far as I know. Oh, would you look at that? Mark Francis says, I see Louis Oosthuizen is third currently through 11. Who knows? But let's see who makes the cut. Hey, like Louis Oosthuizen a lot. George guy. Once saw him on the trails there in George. Hey, I'm actually wearing a George shirt. This is George Mountain Race. Great race to support if you like mountain running. Yeah, I just saw him weirdly on the trails one day in George. I was there training in the mountains. Beautiful mountains, George. By the way, if you're coming to South Africa, George, South Africa, place to see. And the mountains in this race, in fact, unbelievable. So if you're ever looking for a holiday, somewhere to take a loved one or a family member or friends, head to George and hike, man. Louis Oosthuizen, one of our very own, he loves to just farm. Spent his first paycheck, that big paycheck. Apparently, I remember when he won the Open, got himself a nice John Deere truck, he said, or John Deere tractor. He's a farmer, Louis. Loves it. Love him, by the way. Love him. Jesse says, the only one I know is Louis Oosthuizen, but there's 6 forgotten names now. Don't watch much golf. It's not a good time for South African golf. Tabo says, to answer your question, Bolelo, I personally have seen absolutely fuck all from Martial. I'm not racist, but the arrogance of both our top French players is the reason they won't be top class. Yeah, that's probably not a race thing. I think that's probably more xenophobic, Tabo. You are a xenophobe, huh? You're saying so. I'm not saying this, but it sounds like Tabo Padi is saying French people are a little bit snot-nosed. Oh. Tabo, I'm not touching that one. I have been to Paris though, and I don't disagree. They're a difficult bunch of people. The French are a difficult bunch. They are difficult. I've skied there before. They are. Listen. Yeah, look. Let me just say, at ski resorts in France, spent quite a bit of time in the Alps. A lot of French people, a lot of Russian people come there, and Russian people have a different way of acting, and the French people do not like it. They are different. So yeah, I have to agree. And of course, I think you're referring to Pogba and Martial there. Martial, they should have moved on last year. I don't get it. I just don't get it. But okay, fine. That's United's problem. That is United's problem, and I agree. The Pogba thing, we'll talk about that tomorrow. Ryan Alex Ferreira says, get Martial and Pogba out on a combo deal to anyone for free. But I seriously doubt United will be able to lure someone of Haaland's quality. Fingers crossed that Greenwood gets through the current storm. Listen, it is a problem with Greenwood. I'll be honest, on Greenwood, I'm out. Because I don't like character deficiencies. Because erratic young, erratic old, especially in sport, is because the magnifying glass is too much. The pressure's always on. And, when pressure's on in life, we always defer to our default character. We all like this. People are all like this. If you want to know who somebody really is, you can't tell who people are when they're comfortable. You got to turn the heat up on people, right? When you're in a relationship, if you really want to know, and I know people say you shouldn't test it, if you want to know who your partner is, it's not when you're on honeymoon and you both have 2 jobs and you're ordering the shellfish without even looking at the credit card statement, right? It's when your mother is sick and your sister's sick and your kids are sick. What's your partner like in that situation? Problem for Greenwood is I know now what he's like, and he's got it easy right now. They've got him wrapped up in cotton wool. What happens when the fans come at him in 3-4 years' time and they say he's not good enough? And then we have to see his character. And if he's like this now, by the way, money doesn't change you. It just makes you more of who you are. I'm out on Greenwood. So I think United might need a culture reshuffle. So remember that Arsenal window I gave you of 3 to 5 years? If you're honest as Man United, I don't care how much money you spend, you're looking at another 3 or 5 years because you need to rebuild the culture. It took Jurgen Klopp 5 years. Ask Liverpool fans. It took them 30 years. 16 years it's taken Arsenal to get back to the summit. And Jurgen Klopp didn't have to rebuild the culture. Liverpool were always strong. Man United are divided now. It is wild. All right, let's finish up the questions. And Ryan, I feel you, man. Ryan is furious. Get Martial and Pogba out on a free, he says. On a package deal, huh? Get them the hell out of here. Huh? Side wing, he's saying a 2-piece, get them out. KFC special. 2-piece out the window. Ryan Alex Ferreira, not happy. I also hope, I hope I'm wrong because I've had second chances in life and I believe in second chances. I just know what people are, is you are who you are. And unfortunately, the Greenwood thing, How do you pull him back now? He's already an England international. Like, how do you go and tell him anything? Honestly, between him and Callum Hudson-Odoi, I'm starting to see Ravel Morrison 2.0. Can they pull him back? Because if he thinks he's arrived, he's so wrong. Because at Manchester United, they'll forget you like that. We've had Wayne Rooney. Listen, we've had Rooney. We've had Van Nistelrooy. We've had Beckham. They all left. And what did Manchester United continue to do? Dominate. Rooney left, dominate. Without him, they were dominating. Andy Cole left. What did they do? Treble again, or 3 in a row again. Cristiano Ronaldo left. What did they do? Dominate. If Greenwood thinks he's the man at Manchester United, I have some bad news for you, sir. I have some terrible news for you, sir. Because you will be forgotten like that. Wayne Rooney is still playing. No one sings his songs anymore. They had Carlos Tevez. I know. Great at United, by the way. Great at United. So if Greenwood thinks, oh, I'm the man because I'm playing well, great at United is the expected bar. You're expected to be a great player. Once we sign you for the Red Devil t-shirt, we expect you to be great. What we expect you to be is transcendent. Once you're in-house, the fact that you're a great player and winning trophies, at Man United, we expect that. We expect that. Right? Greenwood playing well means nothing, but it's tough to tell a young man that because I guarantee you he's got his friends in his ear telling him, oh, it's the establishment, the authority. They're trying to hold you down. Get the hell out of here with that. So I tell you, I don't like cool people as leaders. Don't be cool. Lead. And leading's hard. You make hard decisions. It should never have been on Ollie or Southgate to hold Greenwood accountable. It should have been Maguire. But Mr. Mykonos, I don't know what he's going to tell him. Yeah, that's tough. It's tough because I don't know who can get a hold of Greenwood. The talent is off the charts. It's clear. And he's one of the homeboys. And then you got to have who? Jesse Lingard? Pogba? Martial? Who's telling this young man what to do? Remember the greatness of Man United for so long. What was it? When Cristiano Ronaldo arrived, culture was already there. Rio Ferdinand said, no, chief. That's not how we do it here. Vidic said, no, sir. Evra. Van der Sar. It's not how we do it here. Not Fergie. I mean, Ronaldo was special. He was driven from early. But even then, you hear Rio Ferdinand stories about them saying Beckham's the best number 7 ever. They were driving Ronaldo on, driving him on, saying, yes, we know you can play. Because we all saw that game and you changing John O'Shea's life at the age of 18. Ronaldo came, culture established. Robin Van Persie came, culture was there. Greenwood's here now. It's a mess. He's having to hold a culture together. And he is, wow, unraveling. So, yeah, Ryan, I hope you can come through. Fergie, Tabo says, Fergie said once, you bid farewell to discipline, say goodbye to success. I don't want to say I'm Alex Ferguson. The way I approach my life, and I don't know how other people do it, and I know people that listen to Cliff Central are generally successful or driven, dynamic people. And I don't know how people will look at the word discipline. So it's something I didn't have for a lot of the first 26, 27 years of my life. And a couple of years ago, I decided, nah, screw that. I was raised to be disciplined. My mom's a very disciplined person. My dad is the ultimate disciplinarian and disciplined human. I said, let me just change this thing. For me, the way I look at discipline now is discipline is freedom. But it's so hard to tell an 18-year-old that. To Tabo's point, once you bid farewell to discipline, you say goodbye to success. Well, I can't add to that, Tabo. You've nailed it. Mark says, read my Instagram message to you about the Liverpool bet. All right. I didn't see it, but I'll certainly do that. I will. Listen, this is digital consumption. This is digital consumption. I will read your Instagram message on the show. This is what you call dead air, but I will. Oh, my goodness. Mark Francis, you think I won't read your message? So, folks, Mark's a Liverpool fan. I said we will buy each other coffee depending on who wins. All right. Sorry, Mark, I didn't see it. I'm a busy man. Right. Mark says, just to confirm, our bet is that Liverpool will make the top 4 this season when the season finishes. Announces tonight, if Liverpool does not finish top 4, then I will wear your Chelsea top for a week, eat, sleep, and drink in it. But if and when Liverpool do finish top 4, you wear my Liverpool top for a week in the studio, that on top of the coffee. Don't be a Murgy. Murgy is Indian for chicken. Okay. All right. Yeah, I'll take that. I'll take that. So coffee, and I only drink single origin, by the way. That goes about 500 Rand a bag. I don't want to hear excuses, Mark. I don't want to hear excuses of, oh, I didn't know you were going to go top end. I only drink top end coffee, and I don't own a Liverpool shirt. We'll have to find one. But hey, game on. Everyone can hold us accountable. So if you don't know, Mark Francis says Liverpool will make top 4. I say they will not make top 4. And I've said that since the beginning of the season, not hindsight. He got all in his feels about it. We had a bet yesterday that, okay, we'll buy each other a bag of coffee, of our favorite coffee. And now he's saying, no. He wants to, I mustn't be, is it a mergi? Is it a mergi or a mergi? And he says it's Indian for chicken. I won't be a mergi. I hope I'm not, I hope I haven't spoiled that with my northern suburbs English. Is it mergi? Mergi? I don't know. Mergi. I'll just say mergi for now until I actually know what it is. All right, there you have it. Mark. You thought I wouldn't do it. You called my bluff. Ain't no punk. Mama didn't raise no punk. I will take that up. You better believe it. It is done. Mark says, how can one take a single oak seriously when he talks about relationships? Come on, man. Get out there. Do some speed dating. Tinder, Badoo. Never done online. And by the way, I love people being in relationships. I think relationships are a good thing. But I've been in relationships. So I like to talk about my real life. I'm not going to be making stuff up. I've lived a life. I talk about my real life. And I've had great relationships, by the way. Relationships are good. But I've also seen some crazy stuff out there. Ryan says, I am furious. Ryan Alex Ferreira, as a United fan, says, I am furious. Yeah, look, well said. Ryan says, lock Roy Keane in a room with Greenwood for a few hours. Yeah, that'll sort things out. That would very quickly straighten the lad up. Mark Francis, lol, would love to see that. Ryan, karate kick would come out in pairs. Yeah, Roy Keane would sort him out pretty quickly. Jesse says, I've got guts. Listen, Jesse, I know. Listen, put your money where your mouth is. The great saying, one of my absolute favorites, talk is cheap, money buys the whiskey. Talk is cheap, money buys the whiskey. Hey, mama didn't raise no punk. Mark thought he'd call my bluff. It's done. It is done. I don't just come on here and just say things. All right, let's finish up on this one. So when I was younger, it was my second year, so I was turning 20 in that year in the UK. Let's just say the night before, I may or may not have slept. I may or may not have gone to a massive party, pitched up at training as an under 19 for Tottenham Hotspur's juniors. And I may have come straight from the club or not. It's alleged. All of this is alleged. And I arrived at training, and about 2 or 3 minutes in, I heard a tremendous snap on my right leg, and I felt like I was giving birth through my leg. Pain I'd never felt before. I'd never been injured before. I'd never broken a leg. I'd never pulled a hamstring. I'd never done anything in all of my years. Ever. I've never done anything in all of my years. I had to do my ACL. I was flown off to Zurich. I was in Zurich that night, actually. I had surgery in Switzerland, and then I was taken up to a very special place called Zermatt. So I was in Zermatt that week. I can't remember how many days it was. Why am I telling you this? Listen, I understand injury because I've been there. I've had an ACL injury, and I've had to recover from it. And luckily, and my knee's better than ever now. Luckily, I had the best in the world. But there was a very unique experience. And at the time, I didn't understand why they were sending me to a ski resort or an alpine resort. So I'll come back to that. Chelsea have a situation now. And I've seen this go wrong for too many clubs. I have seen this situation happen at too many clubs. But I've seen it in particular. I've only ever seen in my lifetime 3 players come out the box and be sensational. Wunderkind. From Wunderkind, you're in the team the first day. Maldini aside. I wasn't alive back then. I've only seen 3 in my time. Michael Owen, Alexandra Pato, right? And the Ronaldo R9, Luis de Lima. Those are the only 3 I've ever out the box. Listen, 18, just put the guy in the team. There was no, he's a youngster. Just put him in the team. Like he's so much better than everyone else. And then he steps on the field with professionals and he's embarrassing them. Owen, Pato, Ronaldo. Be honest. How did all three careers go? If you're playing from 17, 18, the human body is still growing at that stage. And the demand of playing against men 30 times a year, men, not boys. It's very different. You can last all season in under 18s league. When men are kicking you for 90 minutes, bullying you, every header at that level feels like you've gone through an OCR course. Chelsea are in a situation with Christian Pulisic right now. And my thing would be just write him off until January. And then I would say one thing I had, which I've experienced. So this isn't just secondhand info or I read it on the internet. I trained with skiers for 7 months. So I was up in, I stayed at Zermatt for 3 months. I want to say 3 months, but for a while. And I did my rehab up there. So Alpine Resort, one of the best resorts in the world. Listen, I couldn't afford to go there now. It's just a ridiculous place. But at the time, I wasn't paying, so it was great. But I was up there and I saw how skiers were training the core and in particular the quads. So if you ever look at skiers, look at their thighs, male and female, their quads are just mental. My situation, not similar to Pulisic. Number one, I'm not fit to tie Pulisic's laces, but he's a youngster and clearly he's got soft tissue issues. Send him to a ski resort, send him to an alpine resort and have the ski people, the alpine people, work on his core and quads, and I guarantee you the injuries end. I've never been injured again. And ACL back then was career ending. I came back, I was better. I played my best football in Russia. I did my best partying in Russia as well. I was better after ACL. ACL then was considered, that was 2005, 2006. So 2006, going into 2006. It was considered your career's over. I came back better. I saw how these skiers and the alpine world does in terms of training. And the young skiers, the Olympic skiers, they're 18, 19. They come out of there looking like Bo Jackson. Just looking like an Olympic sprinter. Pulisic's got that slight frame. He's got the Michael Owen thing. But the most dangerous thing, like Pato, like Ronaldo, like Owen, he's explosive. And if your hamstrings don't have the support from the rest of the quads and the glutes, which if you're young and slight like that, you can't rush that development process unless you put him basically in a training center. You've got, like, football doesn't give you enough concentrated. Football's a full body workout. You've got to concentrate in and around that region, especially for these young explosive athletes. If I'm Chelsea, be patient. The aim is to have Pulisic for 10 years, not the rest of this season. Chelsea aren't winning the league this season. And Pulisic's ability is not in doubt. Right? Pulisic's ability is not in doubt. Wait it out. So what you do is send him. I mean, I would happily, and I'm still in touch with the doctor who looked after me and did my surgery. I would happily send him my details. If anybody knows Frank Lampard, tell him I have the connect. I have the hookup, as the kids say. I have the hookup. Write Pulisic off now. You're looking for somebody. He is easily Chelsea's best player. Don't write him off before he starts. Michael Owen, after he left Liverpool, Michael Owen from 21 was never available. Owen's best years were 18, 19, 20. After that is hamstrings. I mean, he had polystyrene for hamstrings. That's not his fault. He was too good at 18 to leave out. He was just too good at 18 to leave out. And striker's a different position. Cesc Fabregas could hide because he had Patrick Vieira. So you could hide him a little bit, rotate him in, even though Fabregas just played. Wenger said he was too good to rotate. So in the midfield position, you can kind of hide, and in that playmaker position. But Pulisic is all action. No, listen, nice technique, but all action. Box to box, he likes to carry the ball. He goes left, he goes to right. He takes a lot of physical beating as well. And then he's got the soft tissue issue. And he is so explosive. Be calm if you're Chelsea. Have a plan. You've got Ziyech, you've got Hudson-Odoi, you've got Werner, you've got Tammy Abraham. For now, you're not winning the league. Be realistic. Chelsea are not winning the league right now. Too many questions. Pulisic is going to lead for 10 years, not for 10 minutes. Burnout is real, folks. Alexandre Pato, who I bet people don't even know Alexandre Pato now. I don't think Pato's even 30. He was done by the time he was 21. Burnt out. Hamstrings gone because he was explosive. He came out of the box. The Sao Paulo guy. 16, AC Milan 17, starter. At AC Milan, at Liverpool, Michael Owen. Ronaldo came over at 18. Bobby Robson at 19 said Ronaldo is simply the greatest thing he has ever seen. Bobby Robson, the great R.I.P. Sir Bobby Robson. He said he's never seen anything like it. El Fenomeno, they called him. 19, never the same again. Went to Inter, had one great season. Be honest, even at Real Madrid, carrying extra weight, it was never the same again. Even in the World Cup win. I love Ronaldo. He's the greatest striker I've ever seen. No one comes close. It took 3 seasons for me to say that's the greatest I've ever seen. El Fenomeno. But really, 19, he shouldn't have been playing as much as he could. He had all of those knee problems because his quads were overdeveloped, which is going to happen with youngsters. You know, the body's still growing in different parts. If you're Chelsea, just relax. Pulisic shouldn't play the rest of the... If anything, I'd even say maybe sit out the rest of the season. Sit out the rest of the season. What's the rush? You don't doubt the kid's ability. And you've got Hudson-Odoi. You've got room. You've got, in business, you always give yourself a little bit of latitude. Every budget has room for collateral, right? When you go to a bar, if you've ever worked in a bar, you don't measure 30 shots, right, for a bottle. No, you measure 29. I'll tell you why. There's spillage. So with Pulisic, you've got a little bit of room to play. There's an extra shot because I can play Ziyech, right? I can play Hudson-Odoi. So don't worry about the season. You're not winning it anyway. You're still trying to get the culture going. And then Pulisic comes in next season. It's like a new signing. Relax. At least till January, just write the kid off. He's the best Chelsea have had since Hazard, and it's not close. He's the best player since Eden Hazard. And he can get there. Availability, grace, stability. He cannot fulfill his potential if he's not available. That's what I do. That is what I would do. Christian Pulisic, great player. By the way, before I leave you, push that one. Yes or no. If you like it, this one is bad. This one's good. If you like the show, help us move up the algorithms. Lulama said, arrived at training at a decent level. So Lulama says, that's my thing, because I always say I played at a certain level. Maybe I should just always say where I played. No, I don't know. Whatever. I didn't, But I don't want to be that old, because I realize what it sounds like in hindsight when I re-listen to the podcast. It's like, everyone knows that guy at the pub who keeps telling everyone how good he was in high school. Okay, no one cares, pop. So I start to sound like that. Maybe I should just stop talking about it in general and accept that I'm fat and old and I'm destined to be alone forever, as Mark Francis keeps reminding me that my looks aren't going to help me. And listen, my body's not getting any better. I'm getting old. So maybe I should accept. Maybe that's Lulama he's being passive-aggressive, telling me, stop talking about it, pal. No one cares what you did 16 years ago. You couldn't make it at the top level. No one cares. Shut the hell up. Sit down. Perhaps that's what it is. Lulama, good feedback. I'll have to go back and chew on that cud, huh? Got to go chew on that cud. Fair enough, feedback. Gutle says, can Chelsea are Giroud free? He's surplus to requirements. I think Abraham's surplus to requirements. I'd rather have Giroud. But it's interesting that Gutle thinks the other way. He thinks Giroud is surplus to requirements. Whew, I like Giroud because he gives you plan B. Tammy Abraham doesn't give you plan B. He can't hold the ball up. And we saw that against Southampton. We saw it against Man United. Chelsea don't have plan B. The tick-attack is nice, but what happens against teams with a low block? Tammy Abraham is like Lukaku, right? That first touch is abysmal. So what happens when people are playing six? Man United played 7 at the back against Chelsea, 6 at the back, 5 at the back, so 7 at the back, because they had Fred and McTominay basically playing centre-back. Every touch to Tammy Abraham would bounce off his first touch. Fred would sweep it up. Giroud at least absorbs the ball in and allows people to join him. But it's interesting to see that some people think he's surplus of requirements. I would much rather get rid of Tammy Abraham and keep Giroud, because I think Giroud will make Werner better and he'll make Pulisic better. He's got tremendous hold-up play. That's what I think. Love to know what people think. And I'd like to know at a certain level, because I played to a certain level. Not sure if you've heard that. All right, big news from tonight. Mark Francis and I, he's going to be buying me a single origin coffee, and he will be wearing a Chelsea shirt. By the way, Mark, I have to say in that, you have to put it on social media. I don't want to hear, oh, I did it, and you inboxing me. It must be on social media. Everyone, each one of us has to make a 30-second video every day of us wearing the Liverpool shirt if I lose, and the Chelsea shirt if I win. Bet is no top 4. I only drink single origin coffee, by the way. You don't get in this shape. By the way, 9.5% body fat. Are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me right now? I went for a test again this morning or this afternoon. 9.5% body fat. I'm killing it right now. I'm having a great day. I'm having a great time. It's awesome to get to do this for a living. To everybody out there, you could have been anywhere with anybody. You chose to be with me. It's an absolute honor. Ladies and gentlemen, as we build this thing, it is an honor to do it with you daily. It is an absolute pleasure to be with you. Social or physical distancing over there. The owner, right, and the face of this company, the one and only Mr. Perfect Hair, Gareth Cliff, as you can see there. He doesn't like to talk much. Talks in the morning. The Gareth Cliff Show, GCS, of course, catch that live on the app tomorrow, 6 a.m. Otherwise, from him, the big fish, from me, MKT, Cliff Central Sport, the MKT Show, we are the hell out of here.